Hi, everyone. Karen Roby, Danny Palmer here for ZDNet. We talk about ransomware all the time, and the attacks are on the rise. And Danny, a new alert just recently issued, regards to universities and schools in general, how they're being targeted right now.
Yes, the NCSC put out an alert this week warning of a rise in ransomware attacks targeting schools, universities, and colleges. This isn't the first time the NCSC has put out an alert like this. It did so late last year or last summer. But they say ransomware attacks have risen against university schools and colleges here in the UK. It coincides with when schools here are going back to in-person teaching. You'd think that the ransomware would possibly be more of an issue for online classes like we've been having, but they've been targeting an actual physical colleges, schools, and things as well. It's an interesting target because these are targets which are it's almost essential services nowadays. The kids need to go. The kids going to school, and so parents can work from home, that sort of thing. But if you cripple these networks, there's going to be problems, as has been detailed by the National Cybersecurity Centre. It says there's been instances of colleges and universities with no specific cases detailed where students' coursework has been encrypted as part of this. And I imagine if you're a student doing your exams or doing your coursework at a time where it's already stressful doing learning, finding out that this thing you've put work into cannot even be seen by your lecturer is going to cause a lot of stress. So ultimately, ransomware attackers are going after these institutions because they want money. They want people to pay the ransom demands. And in some cases, I suppose, there are organizations which are paying, because if they weren't, ransomware attackers wouldn't be targeting them.
Yeah, certainly. The sad part is, Danny, of course, that teachers, students, administrators, everyone's had to learn how to work through this pandemic and how to keep a school rolling on. It's sad that this is something else that they have to worry about. We pass on advice all the time, Danny, to businesses, what they need to do to protect themselves and their data. What is it that schools, students need to keep in mind? What advice do you have here?
Well, the direct advice from the NCSC in this alert is, first and foremost, make sure your systems are patched and up to date, because a lot of malware and ransomware takes advantage of known vulnerabilities in software and operating systems, as we've seen recently as well with things like SolarWinds and Microsoft Exchange. Things which are used by a lot of organizations can have vulnerabilities. So when you get an alert saying there's a security patch out for this, it's best to apply it, because this can protect you from attacks. The alert also recommends that these organizations apply multi-factor authentication across their networks, and especially now everything's being done online. The problem is, if someone is using a remote terminal to either give a lecture or attend a class, if their password gets somehow breached, be it because they are phished, or because maybe it's just a simple password that was relatively easy to guess, that can provide cyber attackers with an entry to remote services, which they can use to move laterally around the virtual network of the target, and ultimately infect it with ransomware. And thirdly, backups. The NCSC says backups should be regularly tested, and they should be stored offline. So if the worst happens and you do fall victim to a ransomware attack, you can restore the network without giving into the ransom demands. There's a sort of one element here which might come into play is cyber criminals are increasingly threatening to release data they have stolen during the process of a ransomware attack. So even if you do have backups and you can restore your network, there's the prospect of that data being released. And we've seen instances, again, here in the UK, where information on students, personal information, has been released because organizations have chosen not to pay the ransom. Not paying the ransom is obviously a good thing, but then dealing with the fact that, thousands of students, 18, 19-year-olds, have had their personal data published on the internet, is obviously bad for everyone involved there. So the best way to avoid any of this happening is to make sure your network is secure from attacks, so attackers can't get in the first place and infect you with ransomware.
Yeah, it's definitely best advice just to be proactive when it comes to this. Danny, thanks so much. We have so much more on ransomware, what you need to do to protect yourself on ZDNet. We hope you'll check it out there. Thanks for watching.